beautiful soul. Welcome to the Quantum Business Queen podcast. This podcast is a vortex for activating wealth, riches, and boss bitches. It is here that I teach multi-dimensional business. Our content will fall under 3 different categories: 5D quantum creation, 4D frequency alchemy, and the most potent 3D strategy. Every aspect of business that contributes to the creation of success is covered here. Plus, I will be personally interviewing the most amazing boss bitches that are at the forefront of the game, paving the way for money, magic, and magnetism in business. Let's get ready to activate all of that within you. Hello, amazing soul. Welcome to this week's episode of the Quantum Business Queen podcast. Oh my gosh, I want to talk to you about some changes I've been making in 2025. Like, I am definitely not a New Year's resolution kind of gal at all. I think, New Year's resolution really sits in an interesting energy for me. It sits in the energy of commitment. It sits in the energy of getting results. And it's all a very kind of 3D matrixy plug-in type of energy, to where I want to be in the energy of devotion. Like, I always say that I don't want to ever sit in the energy of commitment. Commitment feels like obligation. Commitment feels like kind of forced, like I must do it, to where devotion is like, I can't help but be pulled towards it. And so for me, New Year's resolutions, it's like, oh, let's commit to this, or let's commit to whatever the result is, right? Commitment and results, 3D matrix plug-in. It's like, I have to, I must, I need to do this in order to get a result, but it's not in flow. It's not in an expansive type of energy. It's in something that feels dense and heavy, which is one of the reasons why New Year's resolutions do not work. So for me, it's all about devotion. And what I've been doing is I've really been devoting myself to being hyper present. It sounds so cliche, but it's changing everything for me already. And what I mean by that is I am so devoted to feeling into every little niggle that I feel every day, where it's like, ooh, this makes me uncomfortable, so I avoid it, or ooh, makes me feel a certain way, anxious or whatever, so I just skim through it and move on, or plug in a podcast to my ears and avoid it or numb it or whatever. Instead, I know if I want change, right? I know if I want my reality to expand into the next level, I must start doing things differently. And so what I've been doing is devoting. I love the word devoting myself to being in my body so presently. So for example, if it makes you uncomfortable, and this is one I hear a lot when I talk in my masterminds, etc. If it feels so uncomfortable to log into your bank account, as an example, that's what you do. You lean into that discomfort. You log in, you sit and stare at the numbers, and you're like, okay, what am I making this mean? What meaning have I pegged into money? And that meaning is reverberating a frequency, and that frequency is what is speaking to the universe, and it's what is asking the universe to call forth your experience. And so what's happening is we're avoiding this discomfort, not realizing what we have plugged in by way of meaning into our, for example, bank account. And so for me, it's all about sitting in the discomfort. If it's uncomfortable, it's because I've plugged in a meaning, and every single plug-in you have into your reality, or you plug into your matrix, holds a frequency. And if the frequency is holding discomfort, it is a lower realm vibrational energy that is calling in a lower realm experience. And so for me, I know if I want to change my reality, I need to change the plugins. And the indicator that I need to change the plugins is the discomfort. And so I am being so hyper aware of every little niggle of discomfort in my reality. So like I said, as an example, as an exercise, every single day I'm sitting so presently with my money, and so presently with things that used to make me uncomfortable. Like, I used to invest a lot of money, and that used to scare the shit out of me, but I'm being so present with it. I'm acknowledging, and I'm looking at every single little plug-in, every single little meaning. And then I realized, like, I am the goddess of my world. I am the one that dictates the plugins and the meanings, therefore dictates my experience. So I sit in that discomfort with the knowing that I am the goddess goddess, that I get to change all of this because I am the architect. I build and construct everything. But the problem is we're doing it from such a subconscious, asleep place that we don't even realize what we're calling in, or we don't even realize why we're blocking things, because we are trying to bypass the discomfort. We're trying to bulldoze ourselves and numb ourselves by watching TV or ignoring it or listening to things or podcasts or whatever, scrolling on social media, when really the discomfort is there screaming at us every second of the day. So what I'm doing is I'm leaning my way of changing myself and my reality and taking everything to the next level in 2025 is not a New Year's resolution. It is sitting so presently in the discomfort to really understand what the old version of me plugged in by way of meanings, and unplugging that and plugging in the new version of me meanings, if that makes sense. So I can step into the new version of my new reality. That is one new way I am approaching 2025, and already it is so liberating and so freeing, and it's brought so much expansiveness into my reality. I feel like I'm in so much more control because I'm really fixated on what it is that's been driving my ship. And what has been driving my ship is an undercurrent of discomfort that I've just been shoving to the side, but it keeps perpetuating itself because I'm not noticing it. Now that I'm taking notice, I have a choice. I have a choice to change it. And when you put yourself in choice, then this is another layer of freedom, which has been so powerful. And so the next layer to this, and this is what we were speaking about in the mastermind today, is really understanding the density or the discomfort or whatever, and understanding the meanings that we've created, because it's the meanings that create the discomfort, which perpetuates itself into a belief system, right? And so we're manifesting everything that we believe to be true, and we're manifesting all the meanings that we've created. This is how we manifest. We don't manifest the things we want. We manifest what we believe to be true, and we manifest the meanings that we create around situations. So this is why you need to be hyper aware of them, because when you're hyper aware of them, then you can change them. And so one of the problems I noticed that people were having is that, okay, I want to change my beliefs, but how do I change my beliefs if I don't believe in other possibilities? And so again, it's not about bulldozing yourself. And if you've never heard that term bulldozing, it's just like knocking yourself over, trying to convince yourself of something that you just can't quite catch up with. And that doesn't work. And so it's not about bulldozing yourself, but it's about looking at your situation and asking yourself one insanely powerful, game-changing question that will not only plant the seed of possibility, it will help pivot you into a more positive direction. And this game-changing question is simply, what if this gets to be different? What if this gets to be new? What if this gets to be easy? What if this gets to be abundant? What if this gets to be in flow? It's not trying to convince yourself of a reality that you haven't experienced or that you don't even believe in, but it's just planting a seed of possibility that immediately shifts your energy. And so oftentimes I don't know if you've experienced this, and I know I have, and I know guys in my mastermind have experienced, where, just certain things in your reality that you feel are fixated and locked in. Maybe it's a dynamic you have with a partner. It's just like, it's just never going to be different. They're just never going to change, and I'm always going to come up against it. And you feel there's an idea that you're fixated and locked into it, where it's like, you can't transcend this. This is what it feels like. But remember, you can be, do, or have anything you want. You are creating everything, every possibility, and every timeline exists. Therefore, every version of that person exists. And so in order to unlock these timelines that we feel fixated and locked into, it's not about trying to convince yourself of something that your belief system just can't quite catch up with. Because again, that's bulldozing yourself, and it just creates more resistance, because you're trying to convince yourself of something that is not, and then you're fixated more on the what is not, and then you're creating more resistance, and you're actually perpetuating density. It's not about doing that. That does not work. And I'm sure that you have found that does not work. So the key that unlocks The door that feels so tightly closed that's kept you trapped in the room is the question of what if it gets to be different? And this is so crazy powerful because not only does it release so much pent up energy, it plants the seed of possibility, and it's not trying to convince you of something you don't quite believe. It's just opening the realm of possibility. And when you open the realm of possibility, it is like you have been trapped in a dark room for ages, and all of a sudden you've just cracked open the door and the light is shining in. Now, when the light shines in, you don't fixate on the dark anymore, do you? You start fixating on the light. And slowly but surely, guess what you start calling in? More light, more expansion, more growth, more evolution, because you've asked one simple question. What if this gets to be different? And that is the key that cracks open the door, that lets in the light, that you then fixate on, that you then perpetuate, that you then expand into. And all of a sudden, without even trying, that situation shifts. Poof, like magic. It is so crazy powerful. So crazy powerful. So I just want you to try this. I just want you to try this with experiences you feel locked into. What if it gets to be different? What if it gets to be easy? What if it gets to just be flawless? What if it gets to be so much fun? What if it gets to be so playful and lighthearted? What if it gets to be so passionate? Whatever you're wanting to call in that you don't believe you get to have, or whatever dense experience that you feel locked into, the antidote for this is that one simple question. So two things to look at. Really be present with the discomfort, right? Really be present with it, because then you get to transmute it. Then you get to change the reality around the experience. When you sit with money, by the way, and you sit with the discomfort you have with regards to it, if you've been avoiding it, you lean into that avoidance. You lean into that discomfort. No wonder there's so many money blocks when you actually allow yourself to be present with it. All of these revelations will come to you that you then get to shift. But you can't do that if you ignore the discomfort. So number one, sit in the discomfort. Number two, tap into the realm of possibilities by asking yourself, what if this gets to be different? So anyway, beautiful soul. Those are my two little magic nuggets for you today. I hope they landed where they needed to. I love you so much, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening today, beautiful soul. I hope you got so much gold and were activated in such a way that you could step into your highest timeline of abundance and freedom, because it is more than possible for you. If that desire has been planted in your soul, it is so deliberate. If you wouldn't mind, please rate, review, subscribe to this podcast so that we can get this message into the hearts and ears of more amazing light beings across the world. I would love to continue this conversation with you, so feel free to get in touch on Instagram at sarah.tynan.quantumcoach. If you're a Facebook person, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Sarah Tynan International. And please don't ever forget, if your desire is there, it's because your destiny is there too. You just have to remember who you are. Bye for now, beautiful.